Hi, I'm Steve Savant, National Marketing Spokesman for Creative One.
And I'm Clifford Blodgett, Director of Digital Marketing and Lead Generation for Creative One.
Today we're talking about the 9 tips for financial advisors to build a better website. Talk about a website, we're talking about us building it for them.
Yeah, we're not talking, like, these are best practices for agents to build a site. But we all know that there's some really technical speak in here. There's some really nice pieces that need to be built out that we might need some help with. So definitely these are Creative One services that we bring out to agents. We'll kind of address those as we go through, but definitely, how, what's the thinking, hey, I got this great site. People are liking it. Maybe I get a few comments on it, but what was the thinking behind that? So, what are the 9 things that we embrace when we build a website for an agent?
Let's talk about number 1. Most agents feel like they're having to put out information on their company, but actually this is your first calling card, and you talk about it when you say, remember that your website is often the best chance to make a good first impression.
Yeah, a lot of times, agents aren't even involved in their first impressions anymore. This is a process. I'm shopping, I'm online, I'm looking at your website, I'm watching your video, and what are we, giving the agent to put out there to put a best first impression? A lot of decisions now, especially when it comes to services, are done without the person even meeting them. So definitely, how can we get that message out there? How can we get your personality, your service orientation, what you believe in out there in front of the person or in front of the prospective client right away?
Well, let's talk about the second one, because this is important. We have to make sure that our site is now mobile friendly.
Actually, it's not even mobile friendly anymore. It's mobile first. Google's actually changed the algorithm that if your site isn't mobile friendly, it doesn't come up on a mobile device. So we've definitely had to take a step back from that and make sure that we create mobile first and then work a desktop site back from that. So we're actually looking at that at the beginning. That also goes back to our agent website creator product that we give to agents who are contracted with Creative One. It's a free website, but we had to go through and we spent over $30,000, updating our templates for that to make sure that they're mobile friendly, because to do a better service for our agents. We talk about this stuff all the time, but then if we didn't give them the product to make themselves better, we felt we were doing them a disservice. So we've actually spent a considerable time and effort making those sites new. They look better. They're still the you look at a site, you still get a template feel, but it's responsive. So Google likes these sites, and the new look and feel is great. So we're really excited about that this year.
Well, talking about updates, how important is it to keep your content updated on your site?
We talk about all the time updating your content, writing a blog post, or just keeping your message out there. It doesn't have to be overly insightful or overly in depth. It just has to kind of address those issues over and over again. So, and it also tells Google who you are, and so if we're writing articles about retirement income, we're writing articles about Social Security, you're not only establishing yourself in the content as that, but then Google says this person knows what they're talking about because they're getting clicks. People are spending time on these pages, and they see that, and that reflects into your performance. Now, Creative One will take a lot of those pain points off of the agent. We don't need an agent to be sitting there writing 400, 500 500 word blog posts. We kind of like the ship method, where it's like, I want to talk about this topic, and then we help them with the strategy behind that. We write the content, we post it, and then we ask for them to kind of just supplement that as we go forward.
Well, you just brought up a very big point, that we actually supply the content that keeps their website updated. And that leads me to my fourth, which is you really want to establish yourself as a thought leader in your community.
I thought thought leadership is important in this community. And having that baseline of content out there, I know that I'm going to have 2-4 blog posts a month that's on that content is huge, because then when they talk about, oh, I'm doing a seminar, then we're just we're adding more pieces to the puzzle, and we're just building out that personality more. So it's a great way to differentiate yourself in that crowded industry as well. Mike, not only do I have a site that says that, I'm writing content on it and I'm pushing that out all the time.
Your fifth point says it makes you easy. It makes it easier for your neighbors and local prospects to find you. You got to have a website so they can discover you.
Got to have a website, and we see this all the time. Well, your address is wrong or your phone number is not correct, and it's like, oh, you're not doing yourself any favors there. So, not only on your website is that information up to date, but then also taking that and broadcasting that information across a number of different channels. So there's about 300 different channels out there that Google uses in their local search engine. So making sure that not only is that content on your site, your address, your phone number, your social media channels, correct on your site, but it's also correct across the internet on those other 300 channels. So when somebody pulls you up on Google Mobile and they're like, oh, financial advisor, and they look up that they know your hours, they know where you're located and what your phone number is, and it's correct.
Well, this next one's a pain point for most agents, I have to say, Clifford. It's don't forget about compliance. We really shine in this area.
Compliance is definitely a piece that we've not only we're going to have to work with it. So especially with my team, it's not how do we fight through it? How do we get through it? It's how do we, take out the bumpers ahead of time. So a lot of times, we'll have content. We know what we need to say. Our content writers know the compliance of the industry. So a lot of time our content comes back pretty clean. It goes through pretty fast, knowing that. So knowing that when we build a site for someone, that we have compliance already, kind of taken care of, that wheel is already greased, is definitely is huge for our team, because it just helps go through that process. Whereas if you have to train another freelance writer or train a web developer what you can say and what you can't, it's just another bump that you don't foresee until you get the site done, and then you have to tear the whole thing up again.
We'll talk a little bit about how this measures your success. How can we do that?
Most sites don't get a lot of organic traffic. When agents come in and see us, we might see 15, 20, 30 visits a month, and you're like, yikes, how do they, keep a boat? Well, that's not where they're generating their leads from or whatever. So by using your website as not only a lead generation tool, we can push traffic through it, through our Facebook methods or through creative ones, other digital marketing messages that we use, content marketing strategies from it. We're also, tracking that we're tracking that traffic through Google Analytics. So we'll build an analytics piece on the back end of the site that most people don't see, and we'll see those 30, 45, build up. And we've had occasions where through our social media elite or our digital marketing strategies, we've seen that traffic go from 30 to 300 to 600 visitors a month. So that's exciting for us to see, especially with digital marketing. We can blow the traffic out of the water and we can get a lot of pieces on that. Now, what Google sees is when you're driving traffic to a site and the people are staying there, that you're organically going to move up those rankings, because you're telling people what you are, you're providing them that, and they see that, and Google sees that, and then you move up organically, and that's just free money.
You talk about using your website to connect to other online presence. I'm assuming Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Yeah, essentially what we're talking about is that's the center of your hub. That's the center of your online, that's where your blog is. That's where your services are listed. That's where your address is. So also integrating your Facebook, your Twitter, your YouTube, whatever else in there. So if you're doing a lot of YouTube videos, or, a lot of, you have a YouTube channel and you're posting videos, make sure they're on your website too. Like where it's that centralized hub for who you are.
When I'm using a website, I'm using it for one big reason: to make it easy for our visitors to take the next step, a kind of a call to action.
We see this with a lot of the templated sites that come in through our front door all the time. I'm not going to name any competitors, but they know who they are. So we'll see it out there, and we'll see that it's just a phone number and an address, and maybe there's a white paper on there, maybe there's a download, but they're not really telling the visitor what to do. And what we found in the industry is, even though it sounds really, pedestrian, we have to tell the user what to do next. So if they see a big image of, a seminar, attend my seminar. They see your white paper, download my seminar. So lots of, like 7 to 8 calls to action. Sometimes we'll have 4 or 5 just above the fold. And the fold is kind of like a mystical piece, but it's essentially what you see on a desktop computer, all of the content above the fold. It's a newspaper saying, like if you're on the first page of the newspaper. So that's where that comes from. So making sure that we have lots of calls to actions, bringing them to the user and directing them where we want them to. We don't want them to end up on a contact us page saying, I think you're the person I want to talk to. No, I talk about retirement income. download my guide. This is my thought leadership. Submit your name, email, phone number, and let's get in touch.
Well, summarize a little bit of these 9 tips and how it can help our agents build out their website.
These 9 tips for websites, all go into the strategies that we use. I mean, it's for financial advisors to build a better website, but these are what we use to build sites for our financial advisors. So our agent website creator I mentioned earlier, that's a free service that we bring to our agents. We do custom websites for agents, and depending on the scope of that project, we have very reasonable rates for that, a lot cheaper than what like a local agency or anything else would provide. When we talk about the content and the thought leadership pieces and the blog postings and the social media, that's where we talk about our social media elite package, where we're not only writing the content, we're posting the content, we're blasting it out to your email database 2 to 4 times a month. That's huge, so you guys are staying top of mind, advisors are staying top of mind in the email box as well. And then we're also posting that content on social media. And then with the lead traffic generation that we talked about, that would kind of fold into our digital marketing strategies, where we start getting into personas, segments, who we want, who you want to see come through your front door. So we'll build out Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube strategies for those pieces. And that's where, the lead generation piece comes into. And, past that, there are a lot of affordable pieces here. It's not, these pieces aren't like very expensive. I think our top line pieces, for budget wise for Facebooks are anywhere from $1,500 to $1,800 a month. And that's just the Facebook cost. We don't charge on top of that like an agency would. We're not charging 3 or 10 hours to maintain your Facebook budget. We're just charging you the cost of what Facebook is charging us. There's no markup, if you go to an agency, it's going to be 12, 25%, whatever, That's what we bring to our advisors that are using these pieces for us. Yeah, I'm Clifford Blodgett, Director of Digital Marketing and Lead Generation for Creative One.
And I'm Steve Savant, National Marketing Spokesman for Creative One. And we've been talking about the 9 tips for financial advisors to build a better website.